60,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. We only hit 40,000 subscribers about a month ago, and we just posted some videos that got an insane amount of views and went up about 20,000 subscribers. So thank you for 50,000 subscribers. Thank you for 60,000 subscribers. It's honestly been a little bit overwhelming for me, but I am so grateful for each and every one of you that subscribed. Thank you so much for 60,000. 60,000.
So it's just mind-blowing, like it's crazy. There's been always this hole over here that I always attributed to animals, but there's no way there's been animals digging the same hole for 20 years. But now, like where you're standing is a sinkhole, and there's a sinkhole over there. And so I believe that this hole might be an underground spring, which would be fantastic because something keeps that area over there wet where the pawpaws are. You know, right. It's always kind of moist and kind of tropical down there. So I'm wondering if this is actually a spring.
Oh, right here?
Huh? Yeah. Oh. You'll see, it's a hole.
What is that? What's down in there? Guess I gotta stick my head down in there.
Be careful, I don't know.
I don't really hear anything. I don't know, I'm not hearing any water in there. It's always exciting finding a spring. I think I get excited about it for a little bit of a different reason than other people. I really like caving, and one day I hope to find a cave somewhere on this property. This area that we're in, southern Tennessee, North Alabama, there are caves everywhere. There are probably caves all over the property that we just don't have access to. But obviously, anytime we find some source of water, it has to be coming out of some kind of underground cave system. But it would also be cool to have water here, and we could put a little house down here, the Pawpaw Paradise cabin or something, I don't know. Just a really cool, secluded spot down here, very beautiful. So this is an area that we very rarely show on the videos. But yeah, we have 22 acres of property. It is a lot to keep up with in terms of mowing. It's been raining nonstop this whole past week, and so we're finally getting a chance to cut it down.
You can see these trees all around us that have fallen down from the tornado. Until like 3 weeks ago, we haven't been in here for a year. So right. Typically we get hay off of this as well. When you let a field go like this, the very first thing that comes up is a bunch of leafy, like regular weeds. And then if you don't cut it a couple of times a year, either for hay or for just mowing it, then the woody stuff starts coming up, which are all the small privets and other invasive species come up. So if you look, it's just like we don't have a traditional forest like a lot of people have where there's a bunch of trees and you can walk through the leaves. It turns into this thick briar underbrush that you kind of can't get to until the fall. The last few weeks we've been scrambling to reclaim as much of this stuff as we can because none of this stuff was cut last year. If you leave it alone, Mother Nature takes back over.
So just about a year ago, we had a tornado pass through our property, caused lots of damage, and we are still cleaning up some of those trees that fell over. This is one of them, it's a black walnut. We also have a hackberry over there. Then over here we have a couple black walnuts, 2 big black walnuts, and then I believe one of these is an ash. Really hard to show the scale on this stuff, but these are huge. Now fortunately for us, we have a sawmill, so we can actually save a lot of these trees that fell during the storm and put them to use. But keeping the land cleared, having the equipment to move it, it's a big deal to move some of these trees from where they are down this big hill and all out in that woods to up where our sawmill is. So even though we have those logs, it's just this whole ordeal to get it up to the sawmill. And now check out this one. This is a huge hickory tree, and based on the diameter of the tree, it's probably around 200 years old. Luckily right now where it fell, it's kind of up off the ground, so we have a little bit of time to be able to get to it, but that thing's huge. Hickory is a very dense, heavy hardwood, so that's gonna be really cool once we get to it. We've been cleaning up lots of limbs from those tornado trees, and this is the small burn pile, and we've been moving all of this stuff by hand. It's a lot of work. Let's go check out the other one. Back here behind the house and the solar kiln is one of my favorite spots. I don't know, I just love this area right here. We have these cedar trees out here. We've had some friends over and done the burn barrel over here, went camping out here. Just a really nice spot. This tree over here is a persimmon tree, and so is that one right there. We had a big persimmon tree right here, and last year in the tornado, it fell over. It was a female tree, and it produced a lot of fruit, and that was one of only 2 that we know of. But we do have some other persimmon trees starting to come up. I've been looking into the difference of the male and female persimmon tree, and so I'm hoping this one's gonna be a female. I don't know if because this other one was a female, if these are technically part of the same tree or not, but I am hoping for another fruit producing persimmon. And over here we have the big burn pile. This thing is massive. Me and Dad have been putting in some work on this one. Every single thing you see moved one by hand. We got to get our tractor working again because this was a lot of work. So this is going to be a fun bonfire. So that's just a few of the trees that are on our property, and there's actually many more on the other side of the property that we haven't shown. We actually talked to one of our neighbors over here, and they also took a lot of damage from the tornado. And so I want to take this opportunity to drive over there and see what they have, because they said that we could take any of the logs that we want, which is great. And what we're going to be taking today is my brand new truck. Well, not brand new, but you guys know that we totaled our truck, and we have been borrowing it from friends and family. Just been looking for a deal, and I finally found this one. Got a really good deal on it. It's a 2006 Dodge Dakota. Let's go take it for a ride and do a little off-roading in it, I guess. This is so great. It's gonna be a game changer for us. Back when we started this project, we didn't have a truck, and then we finally got one a couple years ago, but unfortunately we totaled it recently. So now it's gonna be great to have one again. Even if it's just something like moving some 2x4s from Home Depot, it's just been pretty inconvenient to try to do that here recently. We're gonna head over here to this little fence that we have to her property. And this is gonna be great because some of the logs that we were looking at before were at the bottom of a hill down here, and we didn't really know, well, it was just gonna be a real challenge to try to get them out. And so these should be a little bit easier for us to access. So a little bit more about this truck. This belonged to a friend of mine's grandparents, and it's actually been sitting in their driveway for the past 2 to 3 years. Hasn't been started, and it was extremely filthy. So when I bought it, it had not been started at all. It had a flat tire, battery was completely dead, and the paint was just filthy on it. There were mouse nests inside of it. Luckily the tire held air, and we still need to replace those, and we were able to get it started with a new battery, and it's just been running great. It has 150,000 miles on it. I spent 5 hours cleaning just the outside of it, probably a few more hours on the inside. Steam cleaned it, did all of the things, and yeah, it's feeling a lot different than when we first got it. It was, it looks like a brand new truck now. But it's only a V6, it's 2-wheel drive, so we can't do any serious towing with it. More just a great way to move some stuff, some bigger stuff, and kind of do some stuff like this from time to time. Has been raining, so hopefully we don't get stuck in some mud here.
Just a great find, and it was just sitting there all along. You know, we had always, even when we had the Ford, we really wanted a second truck, so didn't have to put so many miles on your main car, and this has been just fantastic to have this again so that we can go get some things, and we still need to find a good deal on a truck that we can tow. So
I've basically been using my Honda Civic as a work truck for the past years, so it's nice to finally have something that I can really get dirty and can handle stuff like this. What do you think? Like,
yeah, right around here is anywhere here is good.
Ooh, all right, let's go check out what we got over here. Your property is so beautiful over here.
Like, this thing is probably, you know, 10 feet or more, 11, 12 feet in diameter. This is actually a poplar tree, and so what's really great about this tree is the fact that we need this for the siding. I don't know if you can see. Come around the back here, Danner, so they can see. You know, you just can't even imagine how big.
That's a big tree.
Yeah, it's big. But also over here is another oak, and then there's also some hickory. We're gonna look at some trees kind of off in the distance. This is probably maybe a little bit to the right of where we're standing right now is one edge of the tornado, and the other edge of it was where that fence was, that whole drive over here. So it basically was as wide as this field. It's right at the limit
our
of
sawmill can do 30-inch diameter, so
max, and that's if it's straight. But this log is really straight.
Huge.
Yeah, for scale, I mean, this is just a giant, completely straight poplar log. It's hard to see how wide this is.
It's big.
But it's probably, it may be 36 inches in diameter. But the nice thing is it keeps going. Yeah, so you just keep walking towards the end so they kind of get a scale for how far this is. So I'm gonna say at least 50 feet or so of clear log. There are some branches down here, but it goes up there. So this actually is a great poplar tree for us to be able to use. Our goal is to come over here and kind of cut this area. This was a giant hayfield, cut around this so that we grab it, come over and start to take all the limbs off of the trees and all the stuff that's in the way so that we can pick up the logs and get sections of the logs. But you can see this tree goes all the way to here. So it was at least 60 or 70 feet long. What you can see with this one, that hickory tree that's there and this one that has this Y, these are pretty straight up to this point. These both go down to the same root ball. They're kind of coming out. It's not as big as the one at our place, but it certainly is still big. And then this is a great oak, a giant oak. This is a really big oak, a perfect oak for us. It has a little kink down there where the water is, but this part will be great. We need this for the sawmill shed. We don't have oak trees.
Oak is the one thing we don't have on our property.
Yeah, we have a few of them,
just
but
small ones, but
they're small and they're hard to get to. This again is another hickory that we can have, and those are really great for floors, for cabinets, for countertops, for axe handles, and lots of other things. But beyond this is again more oak trees.
And the mess over there is just insane.
Yeah, as you can just see, every one of these trees were just ripped out of the ground. So that's a big oak tree. This is one of them standing, so you can get appreciation for it. This one is about the same size, it's just laying down. And they just keep going. We brought our neighbor over, Eric, who you've seen on some of the videos. He came over and looked at all this and said there's no problem us getting all these. There's probably 30 or more trees.
So last year, at this time of the year, we did a video with Jesse from Feral Foraging. And this is one of the plants that he showed us that I never got around to finding later in the year. It's called mayapple, but it has all these little fruits. Each plant has one fruit. And I just found a whole patch of them right here. So I gotta come check up on this later in the year. We had some of these on our property, but then it got overtaken by all the grass and stuff later on in the year. So this could be a spot where we could come get some of that.
course, you see these hickories coming up everywhere.
Oh yeah, I can see the hickory. There's all these hickory trees right here. There's one right there,
Yep.
over there. So one of those is gonna take off and become the next big tree now.
And to put it in perspective, when a hickory reaches about 10 inches, it's about 30 years old. So this one is about 30 years old. The one on our property is over 200 years old. And we'll know for sure, we'll be able to count the rings when we cut it and mill it.
We have ticks out here. If you get bit by one, you can become allergic to meat. And the first time someone told it to us, we like didn't believe them. It was just kind of hard to believe. But then Dad got bit by it, and he doesn't even eat meat, but he got alpha-gal syndrome.
Yeah. So it's not just beef. It's any mammal. So you're not allergic to fish or chicken, or fish or birds, or reptiles, but you are allergic to eating any mammal. It's just one of those
things that was kind of hard to believe. So, yeah, we got them ticks out here. You get bit, you'll be allergic to meat.
Yeah, it's called a Lone Star tick.
I was already scared of ticks just because they freak me out, and Lyme disease, and now that just like adds another thing to be scared about.
Here's a good example. Stand by this tree, Danner, because the poplar we just climbed on is pretty much like this one. To look at, this is the tree we were walking on. It's almost identical to this one. If you can get the scale of it, I'll back up just a little bit so that you really kind of get the scale. So, you know, between that and one or two trees that we have on our property, we might be able to get our siding done, millwood.
Honestly, once we get it up on the mill, that's the easy part. It's just everything leading up from getting it here, cleaning up all the mess, getting it over to the mill. That takes a lot of time.
And as you can see, everything's gonna grow up around the tree because you can't get into it. Normally this would be a big giant hay field. Let's see if you can get to a place where you can see the trunk without getting too low. Yeah, so you can see this poplar tree, it's huge. There's actually a hackberry that's over top of it, so, but that long straight trunk that's there is just perfect for siding. Yeah, we're about to get
stormed on out here.
All right, go up and over, and let's show the back side of the hill and the oaks, and then keep going. Yeah. So yeah, this shows you just how many trees, and you saw how big those were that we were walking around just then.
Because when you're looking at it like this, they look tiny, but that just shows you the strength of that tornado. All those trees are the same size. They're all huge. Right. Getting caught in the storm.
Yeah, we're gonna be going out we're gonna be soaked when we're getting the fence shut up.
We're about to get caught in the next tornado.
And no, it's right there. It's like right there. We gotta go. I can see it. We're about to get poured on. If the grass is too slippery, you could slide.
I know.
I remember that time I got stuck with Mimi after the rain in the Ford.
Okay. Nothing like messing with a big metal fence during a lightning storm, right?
Yeah.
This is kind of the reality of what this week has been like. It just rained out of nowhere. Everything is so saturated, we thought we might get stuck out there. All right, well, we barely got out in time. It started pouring like crazy. And like I mentioned, this is just a 2-wheel drive truck. So we literally almost just got stuck out in that field. Thankfully we got out. This has just kind of been the reality of how it's been the last couple weeks. We've been looking at a lot of these trees and doing all this stuff, and it really is a dangerous thing. And now with summer coming and stuff starting to grow up, it's getting a lot harder. We really want to get just a few of these big logs that can get us through the summer. That would be huge for the tiny house project. So the biggest thing is the siding. So we need some poplar that we can mill down into siding, just like we've been doing on our solar kiln. Now that we've been doing that kiln siding, it really has boosted our confidence. We didn't really know how the rock wool was going to be with putting up siding and how challenging that might be, but it's turned out to be really easy, and we're going to show some more of that in some upcoming videos. But we also have some hickory, which can be great for countertops, and then oak for the sawmill shed. We have this ash that we've been doing for flooring. Lots of stuff that is going to help our tiny house project. And we can finally make some really good progress on that. But yeah, this time of the year, it just rains a lot. The ground has been saturated for the last couple weeks. I want to give a big thank you to all the new subscribers. Once again, thank you for 60,000. We are so grateful for each and every one of you, and we hope that some of the new subscribers like our content and want to follow us on this journey. And also thank you so much to everyone that backs us over on Patreon. Really appreciate your support, and we'll see you guys next time.